I pursued boxing because I was such a little shrimp and such a non-athlete. My brother Roger and Kenny were just, basketball players and football players and track stars. And one day my brother Roger encouraged me to go to Palmer Park Recreation Center to participate in boxing. I did that, and from 1970 to where we are today, boxing became a part of my life. I've told people all over the world that Bruce Lee was one of my idols, mainly because of his mental stability, because of his fighting spirit, because it was more mental than just physical. For him, it was like what he called emotional content, and for me, that's when I succeeded, when I had to face major obstacles and major opponents like Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler. Because of my mental stability, I was able to beat those guys. Without question, Bruce Lee relates to athletes of all kind, of every kind, because it's all about having everything in sync to perform at the highest. It all ties in together. I tell these boxers today on The Contender that your mind and your body and your spirit must all connect to get the best results. Bruce was an example of what materialized from hard work, and there were no boundaries, there was no racial barriers, there was nothing. People saw Bruce Lee as a major force, a positive force, and he was special. Well, that was the most amazing thing about Bruce, was the fact that he could generate so much speed and velocity in his punches, short punches that he used his body and the type of leverage he was able to gain, because he understood the mechanics of the body. That was special. What impressed me the most about Bruce was his smoothness. I mean, he was gliding. He would glide, and he was not methodical. He was very spontaneous in his movement, and everything he did was for a reason. He just didn't move to just be cute. He moved for a reason, to get in line, to get in position, to throw something, to position himself. Everything was for a reason. Bruce Lee had charisma. He had that package. He could fight. He was versatile. He was smart. He was deadly. And he seemed like he was the least guy that could defend himself, but he had such an ability to outperform anyone, no matter what size. No matter how strong, Bruce Lee always had a way, and he did it with style. And that's what I love. That he did it with style. Well, only Bruce Lee could really perform and execute the type of punches he threw, the power, the speed, the accuracy that he threw his punches. I have not seen too many other martial artists in that league. I love Jackie Chan. I love Jet Li. I mean, those guys remind me a great deal of Bruce Lee. I don't think of anyone that reaches that level. Bruce Lee is an icon. He is, in the dictionary, you say greatest, you say Bruce Lee. That's the way it is. He was second to none. He stood out from the rest. What makes Bruce stand out is because of his charisma, is because he is so accurate, so powerful, and he's so smart, and he had that mental stability that very few people can reach and maintain to compete at the highest level.
Well, when I think of Bruce and use the term fighter versus a tournament player, you have to look at why, and it's mainly because my experience with Bruce was as a fighter, as a street fighter. I was never a tournament player. All I knew was a fight. Now, I didn't fight relative to size and weight and division. It was a fight against person. Now, if the person was 135 or 335, it didn't matter. It was a fight between two people, and whoever was standing would win. Well, Bruce, 135 against Jim DeMile, 225, Ed Hart, 240, 250, professional boxer, kill you with either hand. Jesse Glover, super athlete, judo, karate, all of us street fighters, never been in tournaments. Jesse, of course, went into judo tournaments, but tournaments as we know them today. Bruce could beat us all. And I don't mean it would be a struggle. I mean, he could beat us all and we didn't have a chance. This was in an actual fight situation where I tried to hit him. I tried to knock him out. We tried to hurt this kid because he was always embarrassing us in demonstrations and just in general. Tournaments are a game. I don't care how good you are. There are rules. There are certain restrictions that are automatically going to eliminate the potential to really get hurt simply because it's a sport. To me, tournaments do not reflect at all what a fighter is like or a fight itself, because most of the tournament fighters I've ever met have never been in a real fight. It's always been tournament. So when somebody tells me, oh, Bruce Lee never proved himself because he never went into tournaments, I'm the first one to say, I would like to spar with you. Because you should be able to wipe me out really easy. Because if you're that good or you put that much on tournaments, I've never been in a tournament. So therefore I mustn't know diddly giddly. But my point to them is, I'm a street fighter. You want to fight me? Let's throw away the rules. This kid could embarrass me. So put your value on his ability through that rather than how many trophies he had or what tournaments he went in. Give me a break. You know, when I say Bruce was a fighter, I'm not saying that he was a good tournament fighter. I'm saying I'll put him against anybody, any weight division, any size, any background, and I'll put my money on him as a fighter. Because I've never run across anybody in my life traveling around, and I've had some guys come in and challenge me when I'm doing seminars, and I just drove them into the ground because I'm Neanderthal. Whereas Bruce didn't care whether I was tough and had this reputation. He had the beauty of the art of fighting, whereas I was the water buffalo mentality of attack and destroy. So Bruce introduced the art of fighting. And it isn't the art of tournament, art of games, or art of sport, art of fighting. Because he wasn't interested in impressing people other than he was standing and they were down. So all of his technique was geared for winning a fight, not points in a tournament. So I just am amused when I hear that. And I'm first one, like I say, to leap up and say, who said that? I'll spar with you. Because I should be nothing. Because I'll never get a chance to meet Bruce, but at least someone who touched hands with Bruce. So I should be nothing if they value that.
Always kind of experienced now. You also had John Saxon, Bruce.
Yeah.
Was there anybody else that you remembered specifically? There were some scenes that were your favorites, or some scenes that were more difficult than others because of whatever?
No, I enjoyed working with John Saxon.
Yeah.
John Saxon's great actor. I was very fortunate to have, in my opinion, the greatest martial artist ever lived.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. I'll talk to you about that later. Probably have questions for me on that. But in my opinion, I'll tell you right now, I fought the best. I trained with the best. I know great martial artists, and there's never been anybody, in my opinion, like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable, guys. You don't know how great this guy was. People don't really know.
Well, I think they do, actually, because he's still the icon. I mean, as Fred Weintraub said, when you say Western, some people may think of John Wayne, some people may think of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
But when you say martial arts,
That's right.
Bruce Lee's the first name.
That's right. And I'm not just talking about actor or
Right.
I'm talking about martial artist.
Right.
Guy who knew his stuff. This guy was. There's stories I know about Bruce Lee that I don't even share because I have respect for the people, other people in martial arts, and it's not necessary for me to name names. I know who Bruce Lee sparred with.
Yeah.
I know. They won't tell you. But I know people he sparred with. I never mention their names either. But Bruce Lee was untouchable.
Yeah. Is it in the book? Is it in your book?
No,
Oh, come on, man.
I don't mention. I mention this, but I never tell the names.
Can I get everybody to swear to secrecy? Can you say one name?
No.
Can you mix them up? Can you have a jumble of a name?
I have too much. I have too much respect.
Can I guess?
No, you probably could.
Yeah, I
guess.
probably could. Because
sure
I know a
you
lot of
could,
people he
but
sparred
I
with
wouldn't
as well.
confirm it.
Yeah, there you go. That's fair enough.
But
You're a good man.
I just have too much respect for other guys
Yeah.
in martial arts.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
But he was the speed, the timing, the technique, unbelievable. Bruce was the type of guy that he would spar with you. He could spar with a guy. I'm not saying whoever, John Doe. John Doe the great, great champion. Okay, John Doe.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter what size. You can be a lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight. Didn't matter, Bruce. Bruce was lightweight. What did Bruce? 155.
If he
Well,
wet,
not
soaking
145.
wet.
145.
Yeah, soaking wet. Yeah.
Like one, maybe.
Yeah.
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 And what? How tall?
5'7", maybe.
5'7", no more. He could spar with anybody,
Yeah.
any size. Didn't matter what size you were. And he would spar with you, and hands and feet. And then he'd say, "Okay, let's just go hands, just hands."
Mm-hmm.
That was incredible.
That's
I'm
kung fu.
going to leave it at that.
Yeah, that's kung fu.
Like some people say to me, well, Bruce Lee didn't fight in tournaments because he couldn't use his technique. No, that's not true. Bruce Lee would have made the adjustment to fight in point karate championships. If he wanted to, he could have made the adjustment. A couple of people were his students who were point karate champions. They studied with Bruce Lee. But when they came to point karate tournaments, they made the adjustment. You can make that adjustment according to what you're doing. And Bruce would have done the same thing. I don't know if I told you that, but Bruce was, I don't think you asked me, but I will tell you that speaking of Bruce Lee, guy, it was absolutely unbelievable. It's so many people don't know how great he was. I mean, people always ask me, come up here, they say, "Jim, how great was Bruce Lee?" I said, "You don't really know." And a lot of people won't tell you how great he was, but I will tell you. In my personal opinion, Bruce Lee was a step above everybody. I mean, everybody. During that era, even today, I mean, it holds up today, but during that era, the 60s and 70s, Bruce was just great. And in my opinion, he was just a step above. No matter how great everybody else was, Bruce was, boom, just a little step above. He was just absolutely unbelievable. I'm talking about sparring. I'm not talking about just working techniques. I'm talking about when it came to sparring, Bruce was unbelievable. Unbelievable. People don't know. They don't know. He's like the Michael Jordan, beyond Michael Jordan. It's very interesting. Bruce was the type, let's put it this, Bruce was the type of guy that could spar with you, hands and feet. Then after that, he'll say to you, he'll say, "Okay, let's go hands only." It's just unbelievable. He could go hands, or he could go hands and feet. Doesn't matter to him. And he was a level above everybody, as far as martial arts.
Speaking of legendary martial artists, of course, you work with the legendary Bruce Lee. Everybody knows that. Yes. And now, just leading into that, what was your experience with Bruce Lee, and how was everything with the Dragon?
Where do I start? I don't think we have time to talk about Bruce Lee. But anyway,
his skills. You mentioned about his skills.
Yeah, his skills. Yeah. Well, first of all, I have the utmost respect for Bruce Lee. I'm glad you asked me that too, because I want to clear up something. I'm on that internet, so I read some of these comments that people have on the internet about Bruce Lee and myself. And about a month ago, I read on there, this guy said that I was back in Cincinnati, Ohio, a few years ago, promoting one of my movies. And I said, when I was being interviewed on stage, that I would kick Bruce Lee's ass. I can't believe that. I couldn't believe that. This guy said that Jim said he would kick Bruce Lee's ass, and then he got ran out of Cincinnati, Ohio. We ran him out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I can't believe it. First of all, I have the utmost respect for Bruce Lee, and I don't think anybody during Bruce Lee's time and during his era, before he died, I don't think anybody could have kicked Bruce Lee's ass. Not only me, nobody else. I think Bruce Lee was the greatest martial artist that ever lived. The guy was absolutely incredible. The greatest martial artist that ever lived, as far as I'm concerned.
And like when you, obviously there's a lot of pictures with you sparring or just, you know, promotional shots with him and working out. What was that like? I mean, it must have been an incredible experience to see him in action.
Yeah, it was one incredible experience for me to have the opportunity to work with him on the set. I've worked with some incredible personalities. I've worked with some great athletes, and Bruce was one of them. Probably treasure working with Bruce more than anyone else I ever worked with, because obviously we're martial artists. Right. And I learned so much from working with Bruce. One thing I regret in my life is that I never had the opportunity to train a long time with Bruce, spend a lot of time with him and take private lessons with him. But I did have the opportunity to work with him a little bit. And
Jeet Kune Do?
In his system, yes, in his system. And he was checking my style out. As a matter of fact, Bruce saw me throw my backhand. And I've never told him about this before publicly. But when we were working out a little bit together, he said, Jim, who taught you that backhand? You have the fastest jab or backhand or back knuckle strike. Some people call it back knuckle. Some people call it front hand strike. Some people can call it a jab. But Bruce said, I've never seen anyone throw the back knuckle, the front fist as fast as you. Who taught you that? And I said, actually, Gordon Dover Sola from Okinawa Tay. And I found out later, Bruce used to take private lessons from Gordon Dover Sola from Okinawa Tay. And I didn't know this. So in one sense, Bruce was like, he knew how many people could teach Jim throw that backhand, that back fist that fast. So he had an idea. It must be somebody like Gordon Dover Sola. So, and also, I could share some things about Bruce, but maybe I better save him for my book.
Okay. And speaking of the book, so
Bruce Lee would be no match for me. The person
You're saying you could beat Bruce Lee?
Bruce